Roderick Crawford, you spent 20 years as a political journalist. What inspired you to start If You Were Safe, I'm Safe?
The same thing that started me to enter political journalism. Then it was to bring an end, to contribute to an ending of the conflict in Northern Ireland. Now it's to contribute to ending conflict in Iraq, Yemen, South Sudan, and other intrastate and regional conflicts.
And specifically, what is If You Are, I'm Safe? What is its philosophy?
So If You're Safe, I'm Safe is an alternative to sectarian-based security. It persuades people that the only real security and sustainable security they can achieve is when they make others safe, and when those others in turn make them safe.
Okay, so how does the desire for safety, how does that solve conflict?
So the desire for safety often causes conflict. Because I want to be safe, indeed must be safe, I will do anything to make myself safe, even at your cost, very often at the cost of other groups. That in turn, of course, makes them feel threatened, which makes them react to that. And very quickly, divisions and threat rise and conflict ensues.
So what's If You're Safe, I'm Safe doing at the minute? You mentioned that you're active in Iraq and also South Sudan. Could you give me some examples of the ways in which you're working in those areas?
Yeah, so we're working very differently in both those countries. In Iraq, we have engaged with the Prime Minister's Office of Iraq. We work with the National Reconciliation Committee there. We've informed their National Reconciliation Strategy and have advised them and work with them to shape their approach to reconciliation at the national level. At the local level, we're exploring partnerships with others who are running reconciliation programs on the ground. We also run our own communications program, If You're Safe, I'm Safe, promoting the message and seeking to interact with individual Iraqis and communities and to win their support and help them become supporters and communicators and practitioners of If You're Safe, I'm Safe.
And what about in South Sudan? What are you doing there?
So there, we initially explored working with the government, and we're still open to that and have good relationships with them. But we have come into a working partnership with the South Sudan Council of Churches. They're the most influential and trusted civil society organisation in South Sudan and reach right across the country. They have their own peace plan, the action plan for peace, and we are working with them to use If You're Safe, I'm Safe as one of their core programs.
So the areas that you've mentioned so far, Iraq, Yemen, South Sudan, they're in a very particular part of the world, essentially the Middle East and North Africa. Is this a bespoke program for the Middle East and North Africa, or is it a more general theory for conflict resolution?
I think the strategy is evidence-based in such a way that it can apply almost anywhere and at almost any level. It could work within relatively stable societies where there is social conflict, whether that's the US or Russia. It could work in Ukraine. It could work in Colombia. It could work at the regional level, let's say in the Middle East, between Saudi Arabia and Iran. It could work even between great powers, Russian US, Russian China.
So from that then, could you give me some perhaps historical examples where you believe the philosophy of If You Are Safe, I'm Safe has been successful in practice?
Certainly. The construction of NATO, for instance, widely regarded as the world's most successful defensive alliance. It's remarkable, is it not, that the United Kingdom will fight to protect German liberty. This is a country we're at war with in 1945, yet today we will go to war to protect Germany, and Germany will go to war to protect us. NATO is based on mutual security. Our security is their security.
And in your time as a political journalist, you wrote a lot about places like Northern Ireland and also Kosovo, and there were sort of similar areas of conflict resolution that were required there. What lessons would you say you could take from there that we should or shouldn't be doing, or that If You Are Safe, I'm Safe is or isn't applying?
Sure. So probably the main lesson that I bring from Northern Ireland is the necessity of shaping the atmosphere for peace, building confidence in peace, and creating a space where where the way forward for making peace can be articulated.
So, from all the work you've done so far and the people that you've visited in Iraq and also South Sudan, what would you say have been the biggest challenges for you so far, and what would you say are the biggest obstacles moving forward, or the biggest opportunities?
I think one of the biggest is inevitably establishing the credibility of the program that you're promoting and winning confidence in people for it. People are not surprisingly averse to risk. There is a great deal of fatigue about both those contexts, Iraq and South Sudan, and there is, I think, also fatigue in the general area of peacemaking. It is an area that gets far less resource and attention than defence and security orientated approaches to these problems, and it is winning winning the confidence of international community and local political elites and the public that's key.
And what would you say is your hope for If You Are Safe, I Am Safe, both as an organisation and as a concept for conflict resolution in the next 5, 10, 15, 25 years?
Okay, so I think as an organisation it's really about building partnerships with others. We're absolutely not interested in building our own empire and structure. What we are interested in doing is influencing the discipline of conflict resolution itself, passing on best practice, inspiring others. And when we get to the point where other people are launching If You're Safe, I Am Safe, or indeed claiming it as their own ideas, then I think we'll know that we've been successful. In terms of conflict resolution, it is about obviously different countries from different places. In Iraq, it's about creating a new form of stability for its security, not so much about ending conflict as ensuring it never happens again. In South Sudan, similarly, it's about ending the conflict that does exist and ensuring that the new nation of South Sudan has a vision that can bring it together and ensure its stability. And of course, lastly, it's to make an impact on the conflict in Yemen.
Yes. Just briefly before we finish, could you talk a bit about Yemen as well, about the work that you're doing now?
Yeah, so Yemen, we're very much still at the research phase and looking for partners. It took us 3 years to get into Iraq. We started our work on Yemen about a year ago. So we're impatient about getting in, but it's not unusual for several years to pass before we can get in the front door.
And for people watching this who are interested, and for groups of people who are very much like the sound of what you're talking about, how can they get involved? How can they help If You're Safe, I'm Safe? How can they contribute to this movement, to this group, to this organisation?
Well, obviously, we're very much orientated towards working with partners, people who've already got the capacity on the ground, who are already trying to achieve some of the objectives that we have. So we share the same objectives with many organisations, but we think we've got a way forward to make a real difference using If You're Safe, I Am Safe. So partnership is the name of the game for us. So our door's open to work with anybody who's credible and well-intentioned.
Roderick Crawford, thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.